As you may have already seen from the ZPH Homebrew channel exclusive, John Champeau from Champ Games, the creator of Ladybug, Conquest of Mars, Scramble, Super Cobra, and more recently Mappy, has been secretly working on his next release for the Atari 2600, a port of the massively popular arcade game Galaga, and let me tell you, it is amazing. Actually, this game is not a direct port of the arcade game, but rather, as John put it, it's a port of the 1997 PC release of Galagon, which was itself an arcade port of Galaga. John said he did not reference arcade Galaga at all during the Atari game's creation. I've been in contact with John for the purposes of creating this preview video that I hope you will enjoy. At the time this game was announced on the ZPH Homebrew channel, it was already 90% completed in near final form. I've been handed a slightly more recent build with a few bug fixes. This is a preview video of a nearly finished but incomplete game. Some details are subject to change. As you power on your console, you are presented with the game's menu. The title of the game displays, which currently reads Galaga. There was some discussion on the Atari Age forums regarding the naming of the game. At the time of this recording, they are sticking with Galaga as the game's name, but that is subject to change. From the title screen, you can choose to play single player or two player taking turns. You can choose the game's difficulty, novice, standard, advanced, or the special challenge mode. The game cycles through the score display and credit screens until a selection is made. I asked John for an explanation of the various game modes, which I'll read here. Novice. Player starts with double ship, 3 reserves, difficulty ramp up is slower. Standard. Most like the arcade, player starts with a single ship, 3 reserves. Advanced. More difficult than standard. Player starts with 1 ship and 2 in reserve. Enemies move faster, enemy missiles are faster, enemies take off more frequently, extra ships are added during fly-in sequences, etc. In these 3 modes, you are awarded a free ship at 20,000 points and every 50,000 points thereafter. Challenge mode. This is a special mode where you just compete with the challenge stages, all 8. The rules during the challenge mode are: you start the game with 1 ship active and 3 in reserve. If you successfully destroy all 40 enemies during the challenging stage, you will either double up your ship, if not already, or if you already doubled up, you earn a reserve ship. If you do not successfully destroy all 40 enemies during the challenge stage, your ship explodes and you lose a life. Once all ships are destroyed, the game ends. There are no bonus ships awarded for achieving a particular score, i.e. 20,000 points for non-challenge mode games. One mode not listed here is the 2-player co-op mode. John mentioned that mode is currently being playtested by some of his family members. The rules and details of this mode are still being ironed out. Pressing up and down on the joystick from the menus switches screens between the title screen, scoring tables, and credit screens. Pressing left and right on the title screen switches the game modes. The left and right difficulty switches toggle auto-firing. In position A, you must release the button to fire again, while position B enables auto-fire mode. The black-white switch pauses the game. Game select switches between single-player and 2-player modes. Game reset starts the game. The game supports Save Key and AtariVox for game saves. It will run on the Retron 77 with the latest community build. Although John did the programming on this game, I wanted to point out he had help in a few key areas. Team members: John W. Champeau, coding and design; Nathan Strum, art and graphics plus game design and testing; Ross Keenum, music and sound effects plus the sound driver. The game really does play and feels just like the arcade version. I've been having a blast testing it out to prepare this video. I wanted to point out this game was designed using a new software bank switching technique that has not yet been implemented in the latest version of the Atari Stella emulator. The driver is called CDFJ. The J stands for John, which is a minor extension of the CDF driver that was used for other games such as Draconian and Champ Games' own Mappy and Super Cobra Arcade. John was gracious enough to provide me with a pre-release of Stella with this driver implemented. The game will be released on cartridge at some point this year, hopefully soon. Part of what is so amazing to me is that he started development on the week of March 25th with a proof of concept to display 8 enemies in formation without flicker. He then reached out to Nathan Strum to see if he was interested in doing the graphics and helping with the design and testing. On April 12th, John reached out to Ross Keenum, who had previously done most of the sounds for Galaga for the 2600 back in 2013, and he agreed to let him use his sounds and complete the missing ones. The next 4 weeks were spent implementing the rest of the game elements: capture, rescue sequence, double ship, title page, splash page, scoring screen, result screen, high scores, etc., and implementing difficulty ramping for each skill level and testing leading up to the reveal on May 15th. How exciting and impressive is that? One of the questions I had always wondered about was technically how the enemy movements were programmed. Was there a table used or some sort of complicated algorithm for the enemy patterns? John explained that he used a rudimentary command-based parser, so the patterns are a series of commands: start X, start Y, set speed, rotate clockwise, rotate counterclockwise, fly to position, etc. Incredible! Since we are being technical here for a minute, I wondered how he managed to have so many objects on the screen at the same time while avoiding flicker. He explained, "All of the enemies and objects on the screen are sprites. The playfield is not used at all during the game. The stars are rendered using the ball. The enemies in formation do not flicker because they are all copies of the same sprite in the same row. I'm using the Galaxian trick that allows you to draw up to 8, maybe more, of the same sprite in a row without flicker using just one of the hardware sprites, leaving the other one free for the enemies as they fly in. And the first sprite can be reused on rows where there are no formation enemies. The 2 missile sprites are used for your missiles and the enemy missiles, so there is a limit as to how much I can display without flicker, but the sprite engine and the reuse of sprites combined with the multi-sprite copy trick reduces the flicker immensely. All 40 enemies in formation plus the stars plus your ship and multiple missiles can be displayed without any flicker at all." While I was in contact with John, I decided to attempt to throw in a feature request, which was an homage to the old PC-DOS games he created back in the 90s, to create a champ mode version of the game, like in Galagon. He responded that although the cartridge is 32K, he is pressed for space at the moment, and mentioned that he did throw in the challenge mode. The challenge mode, by the way, is a lot of fun and very challenging as the name implies. Stay tuned for some gameplay footage. There are so many examples in this game of attention to detail. When being pulled into the tractor beam, you cannot be harmed, and you can shoot diagonally, for example. Also, you will note the Starfield simulation speeds up just like in the arcade version. In the advanced mode, some of the enemies dive bomb towards you during the pattern formations, just like in the arcade. There are game stats displayed after challenge stages and when the game ends. You can enter your initials, and the score tables are separate for each game type. Let's not forget the most important part: it's just so much fun to play. The graphics are awesome, the sound effects are on point. It feels right, controls are tight, and with features like auto fire, challenge mode, and extended options in the works such as 2-player co-op mode, this is shaping up to be one of the best game releases this year. In preparation of this video, both John and I did come across a few bugs, one of which John reported crashes the game. All you had to do was start a game and never score a point. One final note, Galaga is a stereo game. I want to take this time to thank John Champeau for letting me do this game preview and for graciously answering all of my questions. Having Galaga being released on the Atari 2600 was an unexpected treat and an accomplishment many people thought to be impossible. I can't wait to get my hands on the finished product. Thanks for watching.